Joe Biden got a little bit of heat because of the fact that he would get into women's personal space and it made women uncomfortable. He then proceeded to make jokes about it and got additional criticism for doing so. Well, he's decided to make jokes about it again. Take a look.
We have a little secret going here. I want the press to know she pulled me close.
So that was during a town hall in New Hampshire. And I'm curious, I'm gonna open up to the men first, and then I'll share my thoughts. What do you guys think?
Oh, Grandpa.
He needs to stop. That's my take on it. It's not funny. I get that his supporters think it's funny because they're his supporters and he's surrounded by people who are gonna think it's amusing. But you gotta think about the way it plays for the rest of Americans who do think that you should respect people's personal space. Because while some women might be fine with you being, touchy in the way that you greet them, other women aren't. And you have to consider the fact that some women might have been, victims of sexual assault or rape, and they don't want you in their personal space. So making jokes about it, I think, is not gonna play well for some people.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who the line will play well for, as you say. I mean, he's trying to defuse what is clearly a tense situation for Joe Biden. But that said, you're right. As more and more women come forward and say, hey, the dude did this, the dude did that, I was uncomfortable with it. And there really are more and more coming forward. I think you have to be aware of the fact that you'd just be better off just dropping the whole thing. Just don't reference it any further.
Yeah, to empathize with him, I think that you're looking at somebody who's from a different generation. Clearly, he did not think he was doing anything wrong, which is not to defend it. But I think that in his mind, he's apologizing for this thing that he doesn't really feel he should be apologizing for, so he's trying to belittle it with humor. And yeah, the best thing to do is just back away.
Let it go.
Yeah, just back away.
Right, exactly. And that argument, and I know you're not trying to make this argument, but the argument that, hey, we should give people a pass because they're from a different generation, I think is so incredibly weak. Because think about how much culture has changed, even like the last 2 decades. For instance, when I was in grade school, the F word, and I'm not talking about the 4-letter word, I'm talking about the 3-letter word, was commonly used and it was acceptable. People wouldn't get in trouble for using that word. It's a disgusting gay slur and now it is unacceptable. So let's say I decide that I wanna randomly use that word. It would be ridiculous for me to say, well, I'm from a different era. When I was in grade school, it was acceptable, so give me a pass. No, you don't get a pass. Culture changes, and I think people should learn and evolve along with culture. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that, and then there's also the issue of the Hyde Amendment. So the Hyde Amendment is essentially a federal ban on using taxpayer money toward abortions. And Biden has been supportive of that, and he was recently asked if he still is supportive. Campaign aides told The Hill that the 2020 presidential hopeful still supports the Hyde Amendment, which has prevented government health programs like Medicaid from paying for abortions except in cases of rape, incest, or to save the life of the woman. Biden is the only Democratic White House hopeful who has come out in support of the 43-year-old ban. So I wanna address this and give you full disclosure and transparency. Recently, I filled in for John Iadarola on his show, The Damage Report, and this topic came up. And at first, I actually agreed with the Hyde Amendment. And I said it on the show, I was like, well, look, there is a religious component to this. Because if you are religious and you disagree with abortion, first of all, I don't think you should be able to ban abortion overall. But I don't think that your taxpayer money should go toward funding abortion. So I agree with the Hyde Amendment. But then I thought about it further, and I'm really happy that our members and our viewers called me out on it, because abortion is a health issue, right? If you ban abortion, women who want to get abortions and are desperate for it will take matters into their own hands. Back alley abortions did happen in a time when abortion was banned in America, and people lost their lives as a result of that. And so I'm changing my view on the Hyde Amendment, and I'm curious what you guys think about it.
Well, there are a couple of things going on here. One, to your point, if you begin to accept that notion that, well, because of my religion or because of my moral beliefs, I don't believe my money should go to this, you can play that game with war, you can play that game with a lot of line items. So I think just on that, it's sort of a non-starter. But I get where you're coming from. I think Biden's playing the general election. There are parts of this country that are still very much about, who support the Hyde Amendment. I mean, huge chunks of the country, are the Democrats I'm talking about. So I think he's looking past the primaries where he's obviously going to get lit up about this issue. And he's on to the general.
I agree with Mark completely in that. I think that Joe Biden is looking at the general and specifically the states that the Democrats can win in the general that they lost last time. In terms of the Hyde Amendment and Biden's support for it, it is interesting also in that if you do, if you have a religious belief that abortion is murder, then exceptions for rape and incest are morally indefensible.
That's right.
So what it is a political calculation that you make.
Yeah.
So it's not entirely intellectually consistent with your belief.
Absolutely.
Not you.
No, I know. And look, again, I think it's important to.
And the other thing, if I may continue,
go ahead,
as a middle-aged white man, who better to speak about it?
Well, look.
But there is the fact that a fertilized egg is not a human being. 2/3 of eggs flushed during a woman's menstrual cycle over the course of her life are fertilized.
What? Is that true?
Roughly, yes.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yes, so as the great philosopher George Carlin said, every woman who's had more than one period is a serial killer by this definition.
Right.
So you really have to backtrack your view of what constitutes your definition of human life.
Well, also that clearly the amendment is, I mean, on some level, I'd say is designed. It certainly does target those who are least able to come up with the money on their own to get abortions. So it's disproportionately, disadvantaging those people who need it the most, perhaps.
So let's talk a little bit more about the strategy here, because I do question whether or not this is a smart strategy. Now, NARAL, which is an organization that's supportive of reproductive rights, was outraged at the fact that Biden is the only Democrat who still supports the Hyde Amendment. They tweeted, "There's no political or ideological excuse for Joe Biden's support for the Hyde Amendment, which translates into discrimination against poor women and women of color, plain and simple. His position further endangers people already facing enormous hurdles." So I want to talk about whether or not this is a smart strategy, because on one hand, you see the electorate moving further to the left. On the other hand, there does seem to be a strategy by Biden, Hickenlooper, and Klobuchar to take a much more centrist approach to appeal to individuals who might have voted for Trump but could be persuaded to vote the other way. What do you guys think?
I think that's exactly what, I mean, you're also ruling out the fact that it could very well be his personal belief. Certainly in the case of Joe Biden, who again is, I don't know his exact age, but I believe he's 1,000,006.
He's an older man for certain.
He's close in age to Bernie Sanders, actually. He's in his 70s.
Yeah, he's of another generation. It could very well be his personal belief. The support for the Roe v. Wade is 67 to 70%. People don't want to. This is a minority of people driving a massive potential shift in our culture. And I think that what Biden is looking at is, there are three groups that you have to deal with in the general election. There are the people that are going to vote for you regardless. There are the people that voted for Obama and either didn't show up to vote for Hillary or voted for Trump instead. And then there are the people who didn't vote or voted or wrote in somebody else because they were too far to the left of Hillary Clinton. He's making a very wise calculation that there are more in the former than the latter, and that's where he's going to appeal.
You think it's a wise calculation?
I don't know that it is wise, Dana, but it might be.
In my opinion.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. It's definitely the calculation, though. Dana is precisely right. That's what he's doing. And so you can just see more and more evidence of it every day, and this is yet again more of it. I just, in the end don't know that you're really bringing those people over. We talk about that occasionally on the show. The idea somehow that these are slumbering Democrats who will show up for you.
There are people that did vote for Obama that did not vote for Clinton or that did vote for Trump.
Right.
I think that there are many more of them than the Bernie holdouts.
Well, there was a giant group,
especially in Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania.
True, but there was also a pretty significant group of younger voters who decided to either vote for a third-party candidate or not vote at all.
That's
right.
exactly.
I don't know if there are as many of those as they did.
Well, hopefully.
I could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong.
So hopefully, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But that is the calculation being done. This very conversation is the key conversation when doing the arithmetic politically.
You know, there's always the appeal. You know, some people say you need to get the people in the center. You need to get the people in the center. The people that no, you need to motivate the base. You need to do both. You know, it's not an either or. It's an and I think that he's trying to define his lane in the primaries and see a way to get to the general. And I think that the Democrats are going to have a very wide, robust primary season, and then we'll pick Biden-Harris.
You think it's going to be Biden-Harris?
Yeah.
All right, we'll see.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.